Welcome to the first sentence pattern lesson. Today we will learn about the first sentence pattern, which is plain old S. But first, let's play a sentence pattern game. There is only one rule. Every sentence has 5 words. Do you hear the pattern? Every sentence sounds the same. It gets a bit boring. It doesn't allow for flow. Knowing sentence patterns doesn't just make your sentences correctly punctuated. While that is important, it's far more important that your sentences have variety because it will naturally make your reader's voice inflection rise and fall. And when your reader's voice inflection naturally rises and falls, your writing will flow nicely, and all of that will make you a better writer. So first, we must eradicate all non-sentences from your writing. It is time to just say no, because students write in things that aren't sentences. 3 major mishaps include sentence fragments, where you're not writing in sentences at all. The second one is run-ons, where you smush together incorrectly more than one sentence, sometimes 2 and sometimes 3. And then the other is simply a lack of variety, where you write something and what you've said is correct, but it just sounds all kind of choppy because you're repeating the same simple sentence or sentence structure over and over and doesn't allow for flow. So let's learn about what makes a sentence a sentence. First of all, you have to have a subject. And many English teachers in your life have told you that a subject is what the sentence is about. I'm here to clarify because this is a confusing definition. Let's consider this sentence, for example. The cow is outstanding in his field. If I were to ask you what this sentence is about, you might wonder, is it the cow or is it the field? Because without the field, where would the cow stand? And without the cow, what importance would the field have? How will you know? Is it a cow or is it field? That definition of a subject leaves it unclear. So let's revise that definition. Let's say that the subject is who or what is doing some action. Let's go back to our sentence. Who is doing some action now? That's right, it's our outstanding cow. Get it? It's been a joke the whole time. The cow was outstanding, like, woohoo, good job, cow. All right, so if you have to have a subject, who or what is doing the action, then what's the second necessary component of a sentence? You guessed it. If the subject is the who or what doing the action, then we need an action, and we call that action a verb. So you first of all have to have a subject and a verb. Your subjects and verbs are like best friends forever. Where you see one, you should see the other. They go together like a wink and a smile, or like two random bears on a wooden dinosaur. Either way, the point is that your subject and verbs are always together. If you have one, you've got the other. Otherwise, it's not a subject and it's not a verb. So if the cow is the subject, then what is the action? This is where it gets a little bit tricky because I just told you that the verb has to be an action. And the funny thing is a verb, but that's not really an action. Verbs do action except when they don't really show any action. I like to call these verbs teenage verbs. If you look them up on the internet, you'll find names like auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, but I call them teenage verbs because if you ask a teenager what he or she is doing, that teen will usually say nothing. So for the purposes of this illustration, we're going to call this guy in the corner here Damon, and we're going to call his buddy Jax because those are hip and happening names for 2 teenagers who represent teenage verbs such as am, are, is, was, were, has, have, had, can, could, will, would, be, being, been, may, might, do, did. Those are examples of teenage verbs. Nice thing is that you can use these teenage verbs as the sole action of the sentence, such as Damon and Jax were here. They're not really doing anything. They just were. Or Damon and Jax are swank. They're not really doing anything. They just happen to be swank. Or how about Jax has one flip-flop? Yeah, he's not really doing anything. He just has. In addition, you can add teenage verbs to other action verbs, such as Damon and Jax are chilling. Chilling is something that they're doing. Damon and Jax have lost Jack's flip-flop. They lost it. They have lost it indicates past tense. Or Damon and Jax will eject. See ya. Either way, know that if you see a teenage verb, it's always your verb, and it's one of the few words in the English language that can't masquerade as part of speech, a different part of speech. So let's do a test. Do these sentences have subjects and verbs? Sally wants a peanut butter sandwich. So who is doing something? That's right, good old Sally. And what is Sally doing? She wants a peanut butter sandwich. So how about here? Sally's mom said that she should go make her own. Who's doing something? That's right, it's Sally's mom. And Sally's mom is saying that she should make her own. Pretty simple, right? Uh-oh, this one is not so simple. Making peanut butter sandwiches is tricky for Sally. What is doing something here? Making looks like a verb, but no one is making. Sally would be, but as you can see, it's tricky for her. So you start with your teenage verb. Is a teenage verb, so ask yourself, what is? Making peanut butter sandwiches is what is tricky, and that makes making peanut butter sandwiches your entire subject. And is your teenage verb. This one is a little tricky too. Refusing to believe Sally's excuses. Sally's mom made Sally make her own sandwich. Refusing looks like it could be a verb, but it's not exactly the only verb. You see, anytime you have anything that introduces your sentence, anything in that introductory part doesn't count as your subject and your verb. You have to find somebody who's doing something in the main part of your sentence, and that's right, it's Sally's mom. She made Sally get her sweet patootie off the couch and make her own sandwich. So Sally's mom made would be your subject and your verb. So we have established that the subject is who or what is doing the sentence, and the verb is the action of the sentence. But there's one more thing that your sentence has to have in order to be an actual sentence, and that is that, it has to make sense by itself. Students write in fragments that have subject and verbs but don't make sense by themselves quite frequently. Take this as an example. After I get home from school today, is there a subject? Is there somebody who's doing something? Yes, I is doing something. So is there a verb? What is I doing? I get. So there is a subject and there is a verb, but does it make sense by itself? Imagine if you said this to your Uncle Joe. Would he be able to follow your train of thought? Would it make sense by itself? I don't think so. He'd be like, what? When you get home from school today, you gonna wash my car? You gonna help me fill the pool with Orbeez again? What? Answer me, huh? You crazy kids and your fragments. Yeah. He would not understand that you would not have a complete thought. So if you said, Uncle Joe, after I get home from school today, I'd like to have some ice cream. Then he would be like, heck yeah, triple scoop of death by chocolate mousse tracks from me, please, because you would have added a complete thought with a subject and a verb after your introductory section of the sentence. See how the part after I get home from school today actually introduces your complete thought? So you got to have a subject. You got to have a verb. You got to have a complete thought. We need to put these three things on a brain cell and fight to keep it alive, because that, my friends, is S. And S stands for sentence, the fundamental element of every sentence pattern of your near and distant future, the elementary unit of thought and communication. It could stand for super. It could stand for simple. It could stand for supplemental sophistication, but it doesn't. It just stands for S. And that, my friends, is enough. Stay tuned for the up-and-coming next sentence pattern lessons so that you can improve your sophistication of your sentence pattern writing.